Hello class, welcome to the next lesson in Module 4, and it's not Lesson 4, it's actually titled Lesson 3.5, Order of Operations. And the reason it's titled Lesson 3.5 is because your classwork that you're going to use to practice this is combined with the previous lesson. So I didn't want to throw you off and give you Lesson 4 notes and the second half of Lesson 3 classwork. So this is just continuation of Lesson 3. So here is the first chunk of the notes. I think we'll probably split it into thirds. If you want to pause it now. All right, now I'm going to slide it down and we're going to keep tiers 1 and 2 on there, but you definitely don't have to rewrite them. Okay, so you can just pick up on tier 3 and 4. Copy those down. And finally, we have our example down at the bottom. If you'd like to copy that down, again, you don't have to rewrite tier 4. That just gives you a little perspective on where to write it. Anyway, for this lesson, we are going to be looking at the order of operations. And I know that you guys have seen this before, definitely on Wednesday worksheets, but today we're going to look at it a little bit more in depth. So the question is, in what order do I solve multi-step expressions? Okay, so basically, how do I solve a problem that has multiple problems in it? The answer is that the order of operations is what you'll use, and the order of operation is organized into tiers and tiers of priority. So obviously you would do tier 1 first, then you would do tier 2 second, and so on and so on. And the reason I'm putting them into tiers is because when we get to the multiplication and division combined with the addition and subtraction, it gets a little tricky. So hopefully this helps. Tier 1, the first thing you do in any expression is you evaluate whatever part of that expression is in parentheses. All right, so parentheses helps us to chunk and organize our bigger expression into smaller expressions. So parentheses is what you'll do first. And that's not to be confused, however, with a multiplication problem that just uses parentheses. So there's a difference between parentheses being used like this, 2 plus 5. Okay, so this set of parentheses is chunking this expression together. 2 plus 5 is one entity. And that's different, though, than if you were to use parentheses to do something like 3 times 6. Okay, here we're using these parentheses, but these parentheses actually just mean to multiply. So if you see those parentheses, don't get tricked. That is just a multiplication problem. So let's come back to our notes. Tier 1 is parentheses, so you do all expressions in parentheses first. Tier 2, you evaluate all the expressions that are in exponential form. So if you see any number that has an exponent, you complete that first. Then you move on. Tier 3, which you may have guessed, is multiplication and division. And here's the kicker. You only do, so you evaluate multiplication and division in left to right order. Okay, so multiplication doesn't always come before division. It only comes before if the expression tells us it comes before. So here's an example of that. Let's say we've got 6 divided by 2 times 3. In this situation, you do the division first because it comes first in the problem if you're reading it from left to right. Okay, so this would be 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and then 3 times 3 equals 9. Okay, that's the way you do it. You do not do it the other way, where you do the multiplication first, and you come over here and say 2 times 3 is 6. Bring down you divided by 6, that's 1. This is not correct. Don't do it like that. Anyway, we'll come back to our notes. That's tier 3. Then we have tier 4 where we're going to evaluate addition and subtraction in left to right order. It's the same scenario here. You do addition or subtraction based on which one comes first when you're reading from left to right. So here is our example down at the bottom that we're going to evaluate. We have 3 times 4 plus 2 in parentheses minus 2 to the third power. And what we've done here is we've labeled each problem that we'll do first, or do in order. So first we'll do 4 plus 2, then we'll come over here and we'll complete this exponent of 2 to the third power, then we'll multiply whatever that was in parentheses times 3, and finally we'll subtract whatever we had left minus 2. And here's what it looks like written out. We have 4 plus 2 equals 6, and we rewrite it all, 3 times 6 minus 2 to the third. Then we complete our 2 to the third, and 2 to the third power is actually 8. So we have 3 times 6 minus 8. Then we do this multiplication problem. 3 times 6 is 18. Then we have 18 minus 8 is 10. Okay, so that's the order in which you'll do it. Parentheses first, exponent second, multiplication slash division third, then addition slash subtraction fourth. I think that's probably review for most of you, but hopefully now we can certainly answer this question. In what order do I solve multi-step expressions? Thank you very much. Goodbye.